Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
The suspect in the abduction of Wisconsin teenager Jamie Kloss was in court today, facing charges of kidnapping and 2 counts of murder for the shooting deaths of Kloss's parents. Kloss, who was found alive and well last week after escaping from a cabin, is back home with relatives, recovering. Dan Scheneman reports.
Oh, it was so good to just hug her, felt wonderful that she was back. I could hug her again.
Back home with her extended family, 13-year-old Jamie Kloss surviving a horrifying ordeal, missing for nearly 3 months after she was abducted from her family home, her parents found murdered inside.
A Class C felony carrying with
More is being learned about the suspect, 21-year-old Jake Thomas Patterson. He made his first court appearance today by video link following his arrest on Thursday. He's charged with 2 counts of homicide, kidnapping, and burglary. Patterson allegedly targeted Kloss after spotting her getting on a school bus. According to court documents, Jamie Kloss told authorities Patterson broke into her home, shot and killed her parents. He then bound her hands and ankles, dragged her to the trunk of his car, and drove away.
The prosecution team that you see assembled here today wants justice for James and Denise Kloss and for Jamie Kloss.
Back home, a community is celebrating Jamie's safe return. Her family focused on providing the love and support she needs to recover. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
Patterson is being held on $5 million bail and faces the possibility of life in prison. The temps aren't too bad today, double digits, and we should enjoy them while they last. They'll start dropping a little later this week. Hutch, how's it looking this evening?
Well, besides that soupy air that's across portions of the valley tonight, things aren't too bad. Temperature-wise, we're fairly steady, and thanks to the cloud deck, we'll see that continue as well. Visibility is very low in the Devil's Lake Basin, 0 in Langdon and Cando, and a mile in Devil's Lake, 1.75 miles here in the FM area. A fog advisory has extended until 7 o'clock now for the Devil's Lake Basin, but there's going to be some low clouds, fog, even some flurries of snow elsewhere as we go through the evening hours. A little bit of light accumulation is possible. Temperatures hovering right around 20 degrees as we head through the entire evening here in the FM area. Can't rule out a flake or 2 of snow. Watch for slippery sidewalks. Temperatures a little cooler, although very slowly falling in the Grand Forks area this evening. Some mighty cold air is heading our way. Andrea, I'll have details on how big the parka needs to be here in just a few moments.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of an idea. We'll hold off until weather, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, until we need to know. Thanks, Hutch.
Yep.
2 people are facing multiple charges after leading police on a high-speed chase and getting busted for drugs. The Wadena County Sheriff's Office says on Thursday, deputies tried to stop a vehicle just outside of Wadena, but the vehicle kept going, hitting speeds of 100 miles per hour. Eventually, deputies arrested the driver, 25-year-old Aaron Bounds, along with a passenger, 34-year-old Amber Sutherland. When deputies searched the vehicle, they found 15 grams of meth. Bounds was charged with fleeing in a motor vehicle and possession of a controlled substance with intent to sell, among other charges. Sutherland was also charged with possession of a controlled substance with intent to sell. A Minnesota police officer is injured. A police K-9 is dead following a confrontation with a suspect. Duluth police say K-9 officer Haas was shot while responding to reports of domestic abuse. According to a police report, officers spent about an hour negotiating with the suspect before he opened fire on officers, hitting one and also killing his K-9 unit. The officer returned fire on the suspect, and police later found him dead. The injured officer suffered injuries that were not life-threatening and was released from the hospital. North Dakota lawmakers have introduced a new bill for sports car owners in the state, exempting them from having a front license plate. The catch, the exemption only applies to sports cars with 2 seats and worth at least $110,000. Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley talked with a local sports car owner who says he's disappointed in the proposed law and hopes it gets changed before going forward.
Let's see here.
This is what Owen Michelson has to go through just to put his front license plate on his 2019 Corvette.
Slides up underneath and pushes in and locks in. Usually scrapes on every curb and things like that, but I want to make sure I'm legal. I don't want to be stopped for something as simple as not having a front license plate.
A dedicated Corvette owner for at least 20 years, Michelson's been pushing for license plate law changes for a while.
Really, aerodynamically, the Corvette wasn't set up to have a front license plate.
But he's not too sure about this one.
It doesn't make any sense at all. There's very, very few Corvettes that are going to be over 100,000, much less 120. So it doesn't do anything for the thousands of Corvettes in North Dakota.
The proposed bill says sports cars won't need that front plate anymore, but only if the car is worth more than $110,000 and only seats 2 people.
The bill is not going to do anything for Corvette owners. I only know one Corvette that's over 120,000.
But Michelson adds it's not just Corvettes that should be exempt, but all vehicles.
If you're meeting a car at night, I don't know how you can even see the front license plate if it flashes by.
So far, 19 states say all drivers only have to have a back license plate. And Michelson says he hopes North Dakota becomes number 20, so he doesn't have to keep doing this song and dance. In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Michelson and other sports car owners we talked with today say the average new Corvette is about $80,000, missing that exemption mark by at least $30,000. North Dakota motorists are paying the lowest price for gas in more than 2 years. AAA says the last time the statewide average was lower than Monday's average of $2.16 was December 21st of 2016. Gas prices are down 74 cents since last October as the price of oil plummeted 40% during the final quarter of 2018. But relief at the pump may be short-lived. Oil has seen a slow but steady increase since the beginning of the year. AAA says the national average for gas increased a penny last week, the first increase since October. North Dakota lawmakers will be considering Sunday shopping restrictions and guns as the 2019 session enters its second full week. Today is the deadline for House members to introduce bills. Senators are limited to 3 measures after the date. The North Dakota House is expected to vote on legislation to repeal the state's long-standing Sunday business restrictions that are rooted in religious tradition. Lawmakers in both chambers are considering several gun rights measures. The North Dakota House is considering legislation that would bar drivers from smoking in the car if they have a passenger younger than 9. Fargo Democratic Representative Pamela Anderson's measure would allow police to pull over anyone seen smoking with young children in the car and fine them $25. A hearing on the measure was scheduled today. The full House will consider it later. Anderson says child safety outweighs adults' personal freedoms. She says secondhand smoke in confined spaces, such as a car, is a health threat to children. At least 8 other states have similar laws. Nearly 28,000 gallons of salt water spilled but was recovered at a well in McKenzie County, North Dakota. The state's Oil and Gas Division says Savannah LLC reported the spill of 660 barrels of byproduct brine on Saturday at a well about 4 miles northeast of Cartwright. Officials say a connection leak was to blame. All of the salt water was contained on site, and a state inspector is monitoring cleanup. We are seeing more ice houses out on the lakes as people are enjoying the winter weather by ice fishing. But there are some things to remember before heading out. When it comes to equipment, make sure to have ice picks on hand. These can be used to pull yourself out of the water if you do happen to fall through. Putting chains on tires and boots can give you more traction. And while it may seem simple, planning ahead and letting people know where you're at is important.
When you plan to arrive, when you plan to be back, because just in case something does happen, it's nice for loved ones or friends to know where to look if somebody has to look for you.
If you're heading to a new lake, Sheriff Glander says it's always a good idea to stop at the local bait shops to get their advice.